One, two, three. And we are live. Shane, thank you very much for joining us this morning. We are here with Barcelona Metropolitan and the LinkedIn Live audience to make sure that we get lots of visibility for really cool stuff that's going on to help Americans and other expats who need to take care of their, their family, their wealth planning, they're going to school, anything that you need. Metropolitan is here to help, and we're really excited to have people who can tremendously add value to the lives of expats. So, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, what you do, and what is Euro American Financial Advisors?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, my name is Shane Clark. I'm the president of Euro American Financial Advisors. We're a bespoke firm. We have headquartered in Sevilla, Spain. We've been here for about 3 or 4 years. We started the firm with my partner, Tom Zakaistel, who's based in the Bay Area in the US. And he's run a similar firm, International Asset Management, for the past 20 years. And it's also just focusing on, American expats. And we decided we needed to set up something here in the EU, really to focus on Americans living in Spain, but also kind of in greater Europe. And really, there's a lot of unique situations which Americans face. So we're trying to help folks that way.
All right. So, what is your why? Borrowing from Simon Sinek, why do you do this, Shane?
Well, I'm an expat myself, as I said, and I think getting into this situation as an American expat, as you go through it, you realize there's a lot of things that you might not have known about, some financial constraints, the citizenship-based taxation we face as Americans, FATCA, all these types of issues. I think it's interesting to have people who are dedicated to helping you, and that's what we like to do, and that's why I kind of got into the business from a more traditional portfolio management research background.
Okay. And so, one of the things that I learned, because I've been here for 27 years,
Okay.
and just kind of wanted to have a fantastic lifestyle, moving to Spain, living near the beach, having fantastic food and having fun. But I didn't realize when I first moved out here that there are a lot of things that I probably should have done better in terms of planning my finances, taxes, and stuff like this. Can you share some important facts and things that maybe you and I take for granted that other people who are expats don't know they should?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the same for me. Once you move overseas, there's a whole host of things you probably should have been aware of beforehand. And I think with this seminar, that's really what we're trying to do is focus on U.S. tax obligations as well as some portfolio considerations. So two things you could be aware of, you might not be, are something called passive foreign investment corporations. And this is something that if you invest as an American living in Barcelona in a local fund, a mutual fund, an exchange traded fund, when you then file your US tax returns, these are treated very punitively by the US IRS. So I think avoiding PFICs, we'll talk about it in the seminar in great detail with Thomas Sneed. Another thing that you should be aware of, people ask us often, can I buy US exchange traded funds being an expat? You absolutely can, but only with specific brokers and if you work with a US based advisor.
Okay. So one of the things that we really wanted to make sure that with this, this interview today is to underscore that you have an event coming up that we want to promote and get people to come in and ask all the questions, ask the questions till their heart is fulfilled in terms of getting good advice. That's it's nice to do it in a bigger setting, but when you have somebody that's right there, you can have catered a very person-specific advice. When do we plan to do the event?
So the event's going to be on May 16th at 6 p.m. You can get tickets on Eventbrite.
So okay. And where is it going to take place?
We're going to be hosting it from here in Sevilla. So it's going to be solely a webinar. It's not going to be, an in-person live event. And then we're also having Thomas Sneed, who's going to be on the call as well, focusing on tax issues for U.S. citizens.
From Wicklow. Yeah, I've known Thomas for many years, so good guy.
Okay, yeah, Thomas great.
So it's going to be an online seminar that, I guess people can ask the questions, their heart's fulfillment, but you can then again maybe take it offline and pursue whether or not to see if there's a good fit and to give them more specific advice. Because sometimes giving generic advice can actually be counterproductive I've seen
Yeah.
it happen time and time again because, like immigration law, financial planning and tax laws are very person specific, very individual attention needs to be given.
Sure. Absolutely.
And so, on that note, what kind of mistakes do people commonly make that perhaps you can address at your webinar?
Yeah, I think whenever you're a U.S. expat, you need to focus on a couple things. Taxes are kind of the foundation for what informs us doing the portfolio management, investment advice. A lot of people get involved in things in Spain that they shouldn't be from a tax perspective when they file their U.S. tax return. So we talk about these passive foreign investment corporations. You might be in a foreign pension that could be treated punitively back in the U.S. So we're really going to focus on the tax issues specific to Americans, and then also currency risk, for example. This
Okay.
is something people might not consider in their investment portfolio as quite a potential problem for them down the line, which we're going to address as well.
All right. Um, the other question that I have is, what else should people expect from the webinar?
Yeah, I think the webinar, you mentioned it a second ago, sometimes general advice can be bad, but what we're really trying to do is just give a blueprint. So we're going to be talking specifically about the U.S. tax situation, U.S. portfolio constraints, the importance of financial planning, and just to give people an idea about all of these issues they should be aware of, and then how it affects them individually. We'll be able to do a Q&A afterwards, and for specific advice, we'll be available to reach out for a consultation.
All right. So, how long you're going to be doing like a presentation? How long will that take?
I think the presentation, we're both going to be speaking for about a half an hour in total, and then we'll have probably 10, 15 minutes of question and answer following that.
Okay. So, half hour of presentation of stuff people should know about and be aware of, and
Yeah,
to maybe carve out some big misunderstandings or mistakes that basically does apply to everybody.
absolutely.
Um, because we don't have residency-based taxation (RBT). A lot of Americans who do come out here just assume they'll have to pay their Spanish taxes and they're good.
Yeah,
And and for the most part, you're kind of right, but you still have to file. But
yeah,
when you start getting into PFIX, you have a lot of options that perhaps are smarter that you can take care of, and so you won't be facing some of these draconian fines or fees from the IRS.
yeah.
So who is this webinar ideally for?
Yeah, I think ideally, we're looking, both Thomas's business and ours focuses on U.S. expats. So if you've lived in Barcelona or in Greater Spain, for 1 year or 27 years, we have advice and I think some important information that'll be helpful for everybody.
Okay. And where is Thomas now? Is he still in Spain or is he coming in from the U.S.?
He's coming from the U.S., so he's in Chicago right now.
Okay. Yeah, I hadn't seen him in a while, and since I'd always kind of got used to him coming to the American Society events here in Barcelona or other
Sure.
industry events, wasn't sure whether he was in town. Um, and one last thing that I think would be it's important to really emphasize is how can people get in touch with you? Well, if for those who want to go to the webinar but can't for a conflict,
Sure.
um, how can they avail themselves of the information you're giving, or just go ahead and contact you directly?
Yeah, if they want to contact us directly, they can go to our website, which is www.usafa.com, or Thomas's website, which is wicklowtax.com.
Okay,
And we've got,
Wicklow Tax. Okay.
yes,
So
the
I'll put
contact.
all that information in the text so people can find it.
Okay.
Um, and of course, we'll redirect them over to the website. And that with the event registration, you have a bigger description of what's going to take place, as well as
Yes.
the contact details.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So one last thing. You're based in Sevilla,
Yes.
and how long have you been there?
I've been here for a little over 5 years. So I'm just starting to get used to the heat and the laid back way of life, let's say.
Do you watch bullfighting?
I don't. I've never gotten into it. It's very, very much a part of the culture here. People are very proud of it, and it's in the spring with the feria, it becomes quite an event.
Yeah, actually, it's very unpopular in my part of the Spain. But actually, I was watching the latest feria in Sevilla last weekend.
Mhm.
In anticipation of our call, I thought maybe we could exchange ideas if you happen to be a fan of the bullfighting and whether or not they should have given the ear to the fifth both to the Fifth Matador. But what brought you here to Sevilla? I want to make it relatable to other Americans who are thinking of coming to Spain. What brought you to Sevilla?
Yeah, I think Spain. Like I said, I've lived in Europe the past 15 years, and my wife and I often came down here for spring visit on the holidays, and we just always loved the Spanish culture, the food, the weather. There's lots of things that are quite appealing about Spain, and we had an opportunity to come down to Sevilla, and we decided we were living in Brussels at the time. We decided it'd be a good life change for us. We came down and kind of fell in love with the city and the lifestyle, being close to the beach. It's a nice place to live.
Excellent. All right. Anything else that you'd like to share with people out here who are watching the show?
Yeah, I think we're excited about the event. Both Thomas and my partner Tom in San Francisco. I think it's going to be quite informative. We hope to have enough information that it's not boring, but also entertaining. So I'm looking forward to the event, and thank you for having us on today.
Okay, no problem. If you're ever in town, please let me know. I'd be delighted to share some tapas with you. You can critique the Catalan versus the Andalusian or Sevillan, Sevilla specifically, style. But and actually, my wife and I, we love to go down to Sevilla or I guess Andalusia for some of the hiking, and we'll definitely let you know when we're down there. And again, from seriously, a lot of Americans need to make sure that they file properly. They need some help because this stuff is really not. Sometimes it's not too complicated, but sometimes you don't realize that you're making some mistakes with your financial planning and your tax, and it's really important to get it done. So thank you so much for helping out our fellow gringo countrymen and women. Sure. And if there's anything we can do, don't hesitate. Give us a call, Shane.
Okay, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
All right. Sure. Gonna sign off. Thanks for everybody. And remember, pay attention to Metropolitan. We're always trying to add value to the community for English-speaking people here in Spain. Take care.
Thank you.